So we're here. All right, well, welcome everyone who is viewing this webcast to the International Center webcast. This is the first webcast we've ever done like this. So thanks for joining us. We're pleased to be here to answer any questions that you have. We're here as the International Center to talk about studying abroad options for you, how study abroad kind of works, and then most importantly to answer your questions that you might have about studying abroad. So feel free at any time to post your questions. Let us know what questions you have, and we'll fill the rest of the time with telling you about our office and introducing ourselves and how to get a passport. So to get started, I've got a little riddle to kick us off here. What's pocket-sized, blue, and is a key to the world?
Well, is it a passport?
It's a passport. We all have our passports here with us today. That's the theme for the day. And with us here today, I have Emily Garner, an advisor here in the International Center for Study Abroad, and then Morgan Schwartz, our assistant director. And we are here to talk about passports. It's kind of our theme today.
Do you want to tell them who you are, maybe?
And I am Will Palmieri, and I am a coordinator here in the International Center for Study Abroad. So I know your passports have a lot. If your passport was to introduce you, is the way we're going to start off. So I'll let each person kind of let their passport introduce them and tell them a little bit about who they are, and let their passports kind of do the talking. So Emily, if you want to go first, what would your passport tell us about you?
Well, my passport would tell people that I studied in Spain. I have a Spanish visa for a semester abroad that I did. I have some traveling in and out of Spain when I was there. I flew in and out of Madrid a lot, out of Alicante, the town that I studied in. I've got stamps from London, from Jordan. I even have a visa from Jordan, so when you enter there, cool. So it's much different than my visa to Spain. But yeah, when I actually entered Spain, I was all ready to go with my visa, and at the customs, they kept asking me something over and over and over in Spanish, and I was so nervous, like so nervous. And I kept saying like, okay, what? And finally my friend goes, Emily, he's asking what you're studying. And I was like, oh, Spanish. Yeah, so that was my great introduction, but my passport and visa got me there, so.
That's a great topic to bring up, that you don't necessarily have to know the language.
No, yeah, I theoretically did, but I think just getting there like caught me off guard, and I was so nervous at first. But then later I was able to speak Spanish, and I actually got asked if I was from a Spanish-speaking country once, so that was pretty cool.
And Morgan, what would your passport tell us about you?
Yeah, so I actually have two. So you can see my old one has two little punch holes in it, and the reason I have two is because it expired since it's more than 10 years old. So first thing you'll see is that I had a lot of hair when I got my passport done the first time. But the first thing that you'll really see is I studied abroad in Japan for a year. So like Emily's had her Spanish visa, mine has my Japanese visa in there. So as you go through those first few pages, it's a lot of Japan stamps, entries, and exits. But then as you go through, you'll see some Italy. My sister studied abroad in Italy, so my family went to visit her there. You'll see some Colombia in here, because I was in Bogota for a couple of weeks, some Mexico, and then I have a Brazil visa as well, because actually, you know, for many countries, U.S. citizens are able to go for up to 90 days and just with your passport, but actually for Brazil, you have to have a visa, even if you're going for just one day. So I have my visa for Brazil in there, so you can see that. And then in my new passport, it's actually mostly the UK and Ireland, since I spent some time there last year. So it's a little funny because my old passport is pretty much all Japan and South America, Latin America, and then my new one is mostly London, Ireland, that kind of thing. So a little variety in there.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Will? You've got two over here.
I've got two as well. I got one when I was in high school, and I looked very young. Yes. You wouldn't even recognize me. And an old passport, which also, getting a passport, they last for 10 years. So you will look as good as you do right now for 10 years to the rest of the world. Yep. So another reason to get a passport. In my old passport, I've got visas to a lot of West Africa and East Africa. I've got visas to Bangladesh. Some of them are very outdated as to what they would be now. And then
It's really full too.
Yeah.
it is full. They actually had to put inserts into the middle so I could fill it
That's
up
pretty
even
cool.
more.
Tanzania.
Yeah. And then my new passport, they cut holes in this one as well because it's outdated, but I got to keep it
Yep.
for memory. And then my latest one does have a Ghana visa, and I got to visit Japan and Korea 2 years ago, so that was a great experience. And so I've got a new one right here.
And you've actually got a trip coming up.
I do.
Too.
I'm leaving tomorrow.
Wow. I
Actually,
didn't realize you were leaving tomorrow.
yeah, Cape Town, South Africa, and then on to Edinburgh, Scotland. Let's see the French Fest. So as you can see, whether you're traveling for fun or for pleasure or for work, or hopefully as a student while you're here at Mizzou, a passport is the key to sort of navigating the world as a citizen of the world, and a very important thing for you to do. Any stories you have for us about?
Well, I can tell a little one. So I studied abroad in Japan, and I was studying a language, and so I think that's a commonality for me and Emily, but not for you, I think. So I had an instance. I'd actually been in Japan for about 6 months already, so my Japanese was in theory much better. Well, it was much better than when I arrived, but I was traveling with my family from the U.S. came to visit, and we wanted to try these local food called takoyaki. It's a little piece of octopus cooked in, like fried in some dough. Very rich, but they're small. They're just like, this big or so. And I kept asking for 4 of them. Now, one trick with Japanese language is that they apply different word endings or suffixes to numbers based on what you're counting. So if you're counting passports, you would use a counter for a flat rectangular object. If you were counting for a pen, you'll use the counter for a cylindrical object. So it's a very complicated part of Japanese language. And I kept asking for 4 generic small things. So I asked for 4 ko is the word that I was using. And he was using, when he repeated the 4 back to me, he was using a counter for a plate, which I did not pick up on. And so each plate had 8 of these takoyaki balls on it. We wanted 4. We wanted 1 for each of us to try. And so I kept asking for 4 small things, and he would repeat back, "You mean 4 plates?" And I said, 4 small things. He said, 4 plates. And finally I said, yes, 4 small things. He said, okay. So we ended up with 32 takoyaki balls as opposed to 4. And they're very rich, so we had a really hard time trying to get all of those down. But that was one of those moments where as soon as I thought back, I said, oh, yep, that's what happened. So you live and you learn, and you get some extra takoyaki balls.
Oh, that's really funny. That's an excellent story. Remember, keep posting questions if you have questions for us. Our goal here is to tell you a message that we want you to get a passport. So how can students get passports?
So there's a few different ways. One of the great things we've started doing in the International Center now is that we actually process passport applications here. So if you're in Columbia, Missouri, or the local area, or if you want to get your passport on move-in day or early in the semester, just come to the International Center. You can fill out the forms here, get your pictures taken, and send it all in. I've always gotten mine, however, at the local post office. That's usually a place where everybody has one that's close by where they'll accept your passport applications. And you can get your photos done at places like Walgreens, CVS, things like that. So it's pretty easy and it's pretty accessible to find a place that's close to you where you can get your passport.
Well, we did have a question. So the question is, where can I study abroad? And I can answer this one. If you're in the International Center, we have about 200 programs in 50 different countries. We have programs in North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. And we all kind of advise for different regions. So me personally, I advise for the UK and Ireland in the Middle East. Will has Africa. Morgan, you're taking
Ireland.
She's actually taking on Ireland as well. So we have a lot of different options and countries that you can go to. It's almost where can't you go. So that's kind of how we pose that.
And so to study abroad, you've got to get your passport, and
Exactly.
you've got to be ready to go. So if you do want to study abroad, before you even start to figure out where you're going to go or what you're going to do, you got to be ready to go. You got to have your passport. And it's it is a very easy process.
Really is.
For those of you who have passports, you'll know that it was a very easy process to go through as a U.S. citizen. And then for those of you who don't have them, don't delay. We always see students delaying.
Yeah.
Yes.
And especially as incoming freshmen, you should have received something in the mail from our office that if you bring us your passport by September 30th, we will give you a scholarship when you do study abroad. So it's an amazing opportunity. It's something we're really trying to do to get you passport ready to go abroad, because even after college, you might have opportunities to travel abroad for work or different things like that. So if you get it now, it's good for 10 years. You'll be about 28 later, and I know that seems really old, but you know, you'll have it ready.
And that's the thing, is you never know what opportunities are going to come up. You know, maybe you'll decide that you'd like to go on a service learning program over the spring break or the winter break, something like that.
Yeah.
And so it's really important, if you get your passport now, you don't have to worry about it when you're going through those application procedures. Plus, you know, you're still in the summer, you've got some free time. Once you get to campus, it is a whirlwind. You're going to have events to go to, there's things happening in the residence halls, there's football games, other sporting events, you got to get ready for classes. You're going to be so busy. So just take care of it now. You have access to all of your documents that you'll need in order to apply, and so this is just a great time to take care of it, and you'll get it in time to bring it to our office by September 30th, so you can get signed up for that $135 scholarship that Emily mentioned. So just remember, too, if you have questions for us, you can also tweet to us and use the hashtag #PassportReady, so that way we can find your questions and answer them on this live chat for you.
What is that again? What's the hashtag?
#PassportReady. Hashtag #PassportReady.
Be ready. So we'll talk a little bit about value of study abroad. I know for myself, getting a passport studying abroad was really access for me for a large part of my community, my friends. It was really directed my career. And these values that kind of come, they come in a lot of different forms when you study abroad. So I want to talk about the different types of study abroad programs.
Yeah, I mean, we have a variety of study abroad programs. We have programs where a Mizzou professor takes you abroad with other Mizzou students. You get Mizzou credit. You can go in the summer, over winter break, spring break even. They're typically when you're not on campus for the semester. And so those are a great way to get Mizzou credits and go abroad with your peers. We also have exchange programs where they actually send us students and we can send them students, and you pay the same tuition as Mizzou. So those are really affordable. They're an incredible opportunity at really prestigious universities.
Right. And I know a lot of those programs where you go for a semester, you know, Emily and I studied a language, but there's a number where you go for a semester and you actually take all of your coursework in English. So, you know, I work with programs in Ireland, and so you're able to take classes in the sciences, the humanities, social sciences.
Any subject.
Exactly. Well, in Korea, too. We have exchanges in Korea at their top universities, and all the courses are taught in English. Same in the Czech Republic. We have some in Germany. So there are ways to study abroad for longer and either not take a language, or you have an opportunity to learn it.
Right.
Yeah, my personal experience, I had an experience both with studying with the faculty on a faculty program and then also a semester program. And I took a faculty-led program, so I studied with the faculty and a group of students abroad in Bangladesh. And the experience was so incredible, but it was, I got so close to my friend. I made a lot of great friends out of the program, and I got really close with the two faculty that led the trip. And to this day, there's still references for me. They're still really good friends. I'm very close to them. So the benefits of that were extraordinarily great, but it really inspired me to then want to go abroad for a little bit longer, and I got quite a different experience out of studying abroad for a semester out of the experience. Just being on a campus, having to navigate my own way around, courses, registering for my own courses, and although it was all in English, there were still a lot of great challenges and things that I really loved about program. So very different opportunities when you're weighing value of a study abroad program.
I know, Emily, you went on a faculty program as well. So how did those kind of compare for you?
Yeah, so it's not a secret, but I actually was a Mizzou student, and so I studied abroad through our office, and now I work here. So I would say it was worth it. I think I got a good job out of it. But I did a faculty-led program, and so my English professor, she took us, a group of Mizzou students, and we were in the classroom during the week. So we would be reading Sherlock Holmes, and then on the weekend we went to London and walked those streets. So we would read Emily Bronte and Wuthering Heights, and then we got to see the moors where it was set in. So it was very experiential in that you were reading about it and then you were going to see it. And I really loved that. And I still, the professor that led that program, she has been a mentor to me, and she's incredible. But then studying abroad on an exchange program, It was a little bit different, you know. I had a lot more freedom in choosing my classes. They transferred back to Mizzou rather than Mizzou credit. They all transferred back just fine, but I lived with a host family. It was just a very different experience, but like Will, I did the shorter term, and then I was ready to go longer. And I was able to use my financial aid for the semester abroad. So the really great thing about going on a Mizzou program, especially if you go during the semester, any aid that you have, if it's scholarships, grants, loans, anything like that, they travel with you. So if you're going on an exchange, for example, say Mizzou tuition, it really is a great deal.
Yeah.
The summer programs, it just depends on your aid packages and scholarships, but we have a lot more scholarships that you can apply for.
Exactly.
Come to our Financing Abroad workshop.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are really important.
Financing Abroad workshop. Morgan, when did you study abroad?
So I studied abroad my junior year. So it's a pretty traditional setup. That's kind of what we think of in the United States a lot of the time when we think about a semester abroad as our junior year or your third year. But actually, I work with a lot of those short-term programs where the faculty travels with the students. And there we have people going summer after freshman year all the way up through sometimes summer after senior year.
Yeah, definitely.
So they just delay their graduation by a little bit. But I'd say for most students, that summer after sophomore year through the first semester senior year is kind of the best time to study abroad.
Yeah.
You've gotten some of the coursework under your feet here on campus. You've met some faculty. You've made some friends. You have a sense of what you might want to study or what you want your major to be. And so then it works out where you can get those classes for your major, for your minor requirements, or maybe fill some electives that you did take here on campus. So that just tends to be the time that fits best into most student schedules. But the key is to talk to your academic advisor and talk to them early on. So if you were here for summer welcome and you talk to your academic advisor about study abroad, that's fantastic. It'll really set you up for success. Otherwise, as soon as you get to campus, one, bring us your passport so you can get signed up for that scholarship. But then make sure that you talk to your academic advisor and tell them that you'd like to study abroad. How does that fit into your degree plan? That's the really important question.
Yeah. I've actually worked with a student who she knew she wanted to come in and study abroad right away. She was an education major, and second semester freshman year fit best for her because she was going to be doing her student teaching and everything else later. So you only need one semester on campus, but typically I think the average is to have a full year.
Yeah.
But if you know that you want to study abroad and you know that later on your classes need to be on campus or in Columbia or things like that, you can do it second semester freshman year or the summer after freshman year too.
Yeah.
So you want to get your passports. We want you to have your passports. So come down to the International Center. We are located in Memorial Union, just below Starbucks here in Memorial Union. So
grab your coffee and then come downstairs and see us. And when you come visit and show us your passport, we have a resource room where we have lots of information about our study abroad programs. We have a peer advisor that works here. And so when you get to campus, there will be a bunch of other students in our office that can tell you about where they studied abroad, and we can answer a lot of your general questions as well.
Yeah. And if you did come see our table at Summer Welcome, we told you about the Study Abroad Fair. And so that's on Wednesday, September 2nd. So it'll be just like Summer Welcome, but all study abroad. So you can talk to our partners and other people that have been on those programs. We'll have returning students. All of us, the whole staff will be there. So it's a really great way to see all the options.
Yeah. And I think another great thing, too, is that we'll have representatives from the different colleges here on campus that can talk to you about programs specific for students in the College of Agriculture, Food, and Natural Resources, or students that are interested in the College of Business, students that are interested in the School of Journalism. And they can talk to you about all the opportunities that you'll have to go abroad and earn credit in those different degree fields, too.
I think credit is a big question. A lot of students have, what credits can I get out of a program? Sometimes students aren't sure what credits they can get, or if they will get enough credits to graduate on time. I can tell you, several people working in our office. We have one particularly that was a double major and had a minor and graduated early on time. So it's that key that Morgan was saying is talking to an academic advisor early. Make sure they know you're interested in studying abroad. And then when you come down to visit us to get your passport, learning more about the programs that are available here for you and what's kind of interest to you. I think when you select a program, people go about it a lot of different ways. I think a lot of times some people are attracted to a program because it has the courses they want to take and it's very directed in their degree. Sometimes there are opportunities outside of maybe even the coursework that might interest you within the local country or the culture.
Yeah.
When I studied abroad in Ghana in West Africa, I had an internship in the cocoa industry. I was really fascinated with chocolate and wanted to learn more about it. And I walked, when I walked onto campus and I said I was interested, I had 4 or 5 people that said, oh, you should talk to my uncle, you should talk to this person. And before I knew it, I was sitting in Golden Tree Chocolate Factory with an internship that I had a wonderful experience. I learned so much about chocolate and Ghana is one of the largest producers in the world of chocolate. And it was just by speaking out and saying, I'm interested in this subject and I'm in a location where this is taking place. So, I was more drawn to my location early as opposed to my courses, but there are a lot of people choose a place because they offer specific courses.
Yeah.
So.
And I think you just touched on something too with that, is that we have started really building out our internship options that we have. I don't know, did you want to talk about those a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like Will, when I studied abroad, I had the opportunity to do an internship. I didn't do one for credit, but now a lot of programs are offering either you take 12 hours of courses and a 3-credit internship, or you can do an entire semester just as an internship. So we all know it's becoming the way that internships help you get a job later. And so studying abroad combined with an internship will look amazing on a resume. It'll give you this, international experience. You'll gain independence. You'll be able to communicate with different types of people, especially in a workplace.
Yeah.
So if you want to do an internship, but you want to be abroad, we can make that happen too and kind of combine them. So you get the best of both worlds in that situation.
And I think the people that we work with do a really great job of making sure that you're doing substantial work and that you're working on a project. You're not just getting coffee or making copies. I've had an internship like that, and it's not a great experience. These are ones where you're really going to be doing work where you'll have something that you can bring home and say, this is what I did, and you can talk to people about that in future interviews and job opportunities too.
Yeah, and these are things that we are here to help you learn about and to figure out here in our office in Memorial Union in the basement below Starbucks. Also here in the same in Memorial Union in the same building will be our Study Abroad Fair and that we mentioned, and it's a great way to start narrowing down some of these choices and start putting them on your plate to see what flavors there are, what you want to do with them. The people that you'll be able to talk to are these providers, the people that have set up the internships. They've been to the internships, they run the internships, they know the people on the ground, and just to hear them kind of talk about it, it's a great opportunity and a really big chance. And it's September 2nd.
Yes. So Wednesday.
Yeah. So you'll have a week or two on campus to get settled in. And we'll be posting things on campus about it. And if you signed up at Summer Welcome, you'll get an email from us reminding you.
Yeah. And before that, you want to be ready to go abroad before you can even go abroad. And so you want to get your passport. So you want to come down here. There's no excuses not to have your passport ready to go.
I think one thing we forgot to mention too is service learning opportunities.
Yeah.
And Will has done a lot of work with those. You want to talk about that a little bit?
We do. We have got a lot of service opportunities here. We've got some mostly where you'll go into a community and do work and help that community kind of meet the needs that they see best fit. We've got service opportunities in South Africa, in Ireland, in Ghana, in West Africa, and throughout South America as well. And there's many more options out there for you that in service work.
So they're doing like community service, or are they building things, or what are they doing exactly?
Could be a variety of things. It's a good question. A lot of times service work is really learning how to help the community meet the needs that they see best fit to help improve the community. So a lot of times there'll be health interventions. So you might be going into a situation where there are needs for health, and you'll be working with organizations, nonprofit organizations, to help them provide those opportunities and find solutions for providing that healthcare access. Or you might be building a school or working at a school. The trip I'm actually going to be accompanying tomorrow is a service-based program in Cape Town, South Africa, and all the participants in the program, all the students will be going every day to a township where they will be helping to beautify a classroom and things, because the township doesn't have the money to invest in schools, whereas there are schools in other wealthier areas that have beautiful schools. This organization sees it very important that the students come to school and have access to books and computers and technology and things that are equal to a lot of the other opportunities other students have. So we're going in there to help this organization really ramp up those opportunities for students.
So how many Mizzou students are going?
This will be 17 Mizzou students
17?
and
That's a
one,
big group.
yeah, and 2 faculty will be on the trip. So it's gonna be a fun program.
Very cool. Very cool.
Well, we have about 5 minutes, so remember if you have any last-minute questions to go ahead and chat with us here on YouTube, or you can go ahead and tweet to us using that hashtag #PassportReady. We're very happy to answer your questions as well.
And remember, to get a passport, sometimes it takes 4 to 6 weeks
Yes.
to get your passport. So when you do come down, it won't happen immediately, but it'll take a little time. But we definitely want you to study abroad fair, September 2nd.
And that'll be here in the Memorial Union,
Here in Memorial Union.
so it'll be really easy to find.
Yep.
So Will, what about, so we kind of shared a story about each of us. What about you? Do you have a crazy story from your passport that defines you?
From my passport, you know, I'll never forget, you know, I think some of the most powerful experiences I had were living on a campus in West Africa and just getting to know the campus as my home. Going to the local hangouts and playing pool with friends, meeting up with friends, and really feeling like I was a part of a place that the first day I stepped into I knew nothing about, and I realized how different it was. But then just a matter of weeks later, I felt like it had become home for me and something I never knew you know, could happen before I'd ever left the U.S. So I'd say that's probably my most powerful story.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think study abroad for me too, because I was in Japan, and that was a really neat opportunity for me to be able to talk to people about what it means to be an American. And it was the first time I'd really thought about that question: what does it really mean for me to be an American? And so, you know, Japan is not very racially or ethnically diverse, and so, you know, as a white American, you really stand out when you go and when you're in a crowd, you're on the train, walking down the sidewalk, even when you're in places like Tokyo, where I was living.
Yeah.
But it was neat to have people kind of come up and just want to ask you questions. So I'd have little kids stop me on the street and ask if I'm a foreigner, or like my host family I stayed with in a very small town in Japan. They'd never hosted any foreign students before, and they were convinced that because as American I ate a lot of food. My host mom sent me with 2 lunch boxes every single day. Every day I got 2 giant lunches, and so I just kept trying to give them away.
Maybe that's why that guy, you know, he didn't ask you too many times if you really needed 4 plates or
yeah, exactly. Takoyaki. Yeah. So that was pretty funny. We had to have, my host dad had to intervene one night during our dinner because my host mom kept trying to give me more food, and I kept trying to say, no, I'm full, and she kept trying to put more food on my plate. Finally, my host dad said, I think she's okay. I don't think she needs more food.
Yes. For me, though, coming back from my study abroad program, the friends that I made, either both Mizzou students and American students, and also other foreign students, like those are still my closest friends to this day. And so it was so incredible to have this experience that, you know, nobody else can really understand, but then when you come back to campus, we do a lot of returnee events, and so you can meet other students who have studied abroad, and to have that connection with someone is pretty incredible.
It really is.
Really, when I came back, I think one of the powerful things for me was having so much to put into my academics. I came back with a lot of new material for papers and projects I was writing, and I just felt like I was a whole new person with the information that I had gained from studying abroad.
My Spanish was a lot better.
My Japanese.
I promise.
Creative writing class, they said write a paper, and I had no problem. So I get a paper, and it's great.
I would say, I think friends. The close relationships you build with the people you study abroad with is incredible. I was actually just in my orientation in Japan the first day. My roommate, I was just in her wedding last summer, and we studied abroad 10 years ago, so she's still one of my closest friends. So I think that just the things that you go through and the things you learn about yourself and your host country just really bring you together in ways that almost nothing else can.
Big community building. It's you know, sometimes we're afraid to leave our community that we feel so comfortable in here, but then you build another one, and it's just as fun.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, I think that's it for time. So farewell, and we hope to see you down here in our office. And
remember to get your passport.
Passport.
So go to your post office, come to the International Center, and apply there. And then come to our Study Abroad Fair on September 2nd in the Memorial Union. And again, we are in the basement of the building underneath Starbucks. So don't forget, be passport ready.
Passport ready.
Thanks. Thank you.